Welcome to Tell Me More, the all-steel podcast where design meets innovation and we explore the limitless potential of workspaces. In this exclusive series, we're peeling back the layers of workplace design. From the psychology of colors to the future of hybrid work, join us as we open doors to conversations with industry leaders, architects, and designers who redefine the modern workplace. This is Tell Me More, brought to you by Allsteel, because when it comes to designing the future, there's always more to discover.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Tell Me More podcast. Today, I'm joined with Brian Colley, our head of industrial design at Allsteel and Gunlocke, and Mitch Baker, a legendary designer in his own right. I figured we start a little bit with introductions. Brian, you want to do a little $2 introduction, then Mitch?
Sure. Hi, I'm Brian Colley, as Jason mentioned, head of industrial design for Allsteel and Gunlocke. Been with H&I for a little over 2 years now. I'm very excited about this topic today.
Perfect. Mitch?
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm Mitch Baker with IDA Design, and it's a small design firm in Zeeland. I don't know where Zeeland is. It's like right there.
Yeah,
this
is like the
Michigan.
international symbol for Michigan. That's right.
Yes, right. Exactly. So we have been working, my relationship with Gunlocke, we've been working with Gunlocke for over 15 years now, and it's been really great. We're celebrating our 20th anniversary as a company, actually, this year.
Congrats.
And we've worked in a bunch of different categories across the floor plate with Gunlocke, and it's really been a pleasure.
Hey, Mitch. So today we're here talking about design harmony, one of the pillars of Gunlocke. And so I'm curious, with all your experience, tell me something that you love about Gunlocke when you think about design harmony.
Well, first of all, there's a lot of things that I love about Gunlocke. It's a company with really rich heritage. I was just looking it up today, as a matter of fact, because I was curious, like how old they are. So Gunlocke is 122 years old. And I think we were working for Gunlocke about probably 10 years ago now. And they dug up this time capsule. Did you guys know about this?
No, did not hear this.
So they dug up this time capsule, and everybody that was, participating in the design capsule was gone, because it had been over 100 years. And, they pull out this letter and said, if you're reading this letter, congratulations, you're continuing the heritage of Gunlocke.
Oh.
I just love that story. You guys need to find that capsule. So anyway, harmony means a lot of different things to a lot of different people as it relates to design. I feel like, with Gunlocke, it's a brand that doesn't really, call for attention to itself, kind of thing. It's which is really good modern design in my mind. And really the heritage of Gunlocke is this, or the through line is really wood. It's obviously a lot of their product is wood, not all of it anymore, but I think that's the thing that is the most impressive, like going through the plant and looking at some of the things that they're still doing, steam bending for some of their seating, and they've been doing that for over 100 years.
Yeah, when I think harmony, Mitch, I think recently the work you've done on the product line Solea, and that there's this user element that probably didn't exist 120 years ago. This idea of how do you think about the reality of the new work that's being done. Maybe you could talk a little bit about how some of the ways you try to bring harmony to the user and the product like Solea.
Yeah, I think one of the things that the way we approached both Solea and also a product like Credentials was really to kind of like strip away the non-essentials, the ornamentation, the things that aren't visually necessary, without taking away, the features. As an example, like height adjustability. Yeah. Height adjustability is pretty much everywhere in that product, whether it's in the credenza or the cantilever desk, the runoff desk, the standalone desks. So that's just one feature, but it's not apparent when you walk up to the product that it's even height adjustable. And, there's a lot of like little hidden aha moments. But as you step back and look at the product, it's as clean as it can be. Not drawing attention to, to all these features, but having the features still there. And I think that was kind of like the challenge. That was the balancing act.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of different ways that we did that. Whether it's, side access to a credenza or a wardrobe, or, at one point we took bookcases and we just slid them up a little bit so that you could hang your coat behind them. Just a lot of little aha moments that really make it a special product.
I do. Yeah. Some of these user features, right? Like the thin credenzas or the thin storage units, the idea that you don't have to put full files in it anymore. So give it back to the user in some new way. Pretty clever.
Yeah.
When we first met, we started talking about this thing called the modern leader. The idea that post-COVID, what we kind of observed with clients is that when people do come in the office, there was kind of two generations. There was the young generation who wanted to come and be seen. And then there was a more senior generation who wanted to be there to do work the way they normally would do it. But that kind of created this difference in what leadership's about, in what leadership spaces look like. So, we go after this new world we call modern leader, which is saying, for example, how does the modern office support the idea of mentoring, coaching, or being accessible to others? Or how do I have an equal experience on video, even though one of the 6 participants might not be here with me in the room? Right. These are all new challenges that are kind of, we're trying to figure ways to harmonize into the new workplace. And leads us to some exciting things that you've illustrated in the new product line, which we thank you for.
I think that's, Jason, I think that's one of the most exciting things I think about when we think about modern leader. We think about Gunlocke, design harmony. I think about materiality. I think about the equity design within the product, sustainability. Those are all, when I think about modern leader, those are core tenets to a modern leader. And I think that's what's really interesting to me about Gunlocke being the brand, bringing forth that idea. And Mitch, you had mentioned too, like you go up to Wayland and you walk into Wayland, you see the process, you see the materiality. You get blown away by it, which is really cool. And you really get a sense of from nuts to bolts how things are put together and where that materiality starts with processing capability. So I think that's really interesting. We talk about modern leader on a floor plate level, but I also think it extends itself in the product itself as well.
Yeah, and it's always evolving. A lot of product lines at Gunlocke have a long shelf life, and there's a reason for that. It's craftsmanship. It's really good research in terms of marketing, understanding what's next. It's good design. It's good execution of that design. But there's always it's always felt like the foot has been on the gas pedal of bringing forth the next idea. And on a product line like Solea, for instance, has not just sat still. It's evolved over and over and over. It's gotten smaller in some cases without losing functionality, but it's sort of evolved as the modern worker is evolving, and it's still evolving.
Yeah, absolutely. If you think back to some of the things we illustrated at Fulton Market, what's your favorite example of what Solea does well or what Gunlocke's doing well in this new world now?
Man, it's like hard to, when it's a system like a Solea desking system, it's hard to like pinpoint one specific thing because I think it's the totality of what it is. And, it's the appropriateness of where it's going.
Yeah.
I just think that it's got good legs, it's got good staying power, and we're continuing to invest in it. And I love that when you sit back and look at it, whether it's, a large, setup or a very small office, the most recent, we've been, shrinking the depth more and more. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Because, as we do the research, it's like, people aren't storing paper anymore. No one's storing binders anymore. All of those things have gone away. So what are they storing? It's all these personal items. So we're just like addressing all of that and just shrinking things where they need to shrink and growing things where they need to grow.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a client installation once. And one of the reasons I loved the Gunlocke product was this idea of Gunlocke's historical, brings to mind this, craftsmanship and heritage and power or, status or hierarchy. And in the new world, what they really acted to is this idea of making trades, that maybe we can't afford that everybody gets a private office, but yet people still crave some of the symbology of what it does.
Yes.
So if we go to rethink the parts like you did in Solea to make them better use of the real estate, go up, think about how the door opens so it's your background when you're on video, or think away the access so you're more approachable as a leader. They like that. That was part of the deal. The deal was I still get this feel of what Gunlocke was about historically, but it's been taken to this next level, this next generation of what the real problems are. And in their case, they use the front porch application that we've talked about many times. It's the idea that if you had a 6x8 or 6x10, what if you carved off the first 2 feet of it and gave that back as a front porch, an area for people to kind of just hang out and pretend they want to talk to you, make it comfortable that you're not stalking somebody,
right?
Or make it comfortable to have a meeting outside my little personal area that we can have a quick get to. But this reshifting the way Gunlocke is perceived, it's still what it was, but it's still not. It's solving for these new sets we're kind of seeing coming out. That was the attractive part for the client.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on where you think it's going with Gunlocke and what you're excited about?
Was that for me or for Brian?
You, Brian, anyone? Jump in, Brian. What do you got?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I would speak back to the materiality aspect. I think nothing is more relevant today than materials and the essence of sustainability. And I would say I'm just excited about for the future of Gunlocke and how it plays that role within our product portfolio. Showing, building upon the equities that's already established with heritage and craftsmanship and things like that. But then helping to tell the story and elevate our brand of portfolios relative to the aspect of sustainability and the preciousness, if you will, of the materiality of office furniture. And so for me, that's something that I think Gunlocke, the road ahead for Gunlocke is really interesting there. And partners like IDA and helping us discover what that journey looks like and what those products will be is really interesting.
Great.
Yeah. I think as I think about the future, as we think about the future for a product like Solea, I think it's, collaborative and conferencing and dual use. I think there's still a long way to go in those arenas. Because, people are working differently today, particularly since COVID. I think we're just starting to really understand some new ways of working and how this product can support that. I also see it migrating more into the open plan, and having the uses within the office, just basically having more uses within a single private office, whether that's, conferencing, whether that's dual office, whether that's, shared offices. I think there's a long way to go there that we haven't pushed into yet.
Well said. Well, that concludes our episode today. Thank you, everyone. And please join us again for the next podcast. And thanks for your time today.
That brings us to the end of another fascinating episode of Tell Me More. We hope you enjoyed our conversation around the design harmony of Gunlocke. Stay tuned for the next episode in our series where we'll explore Gunlocke's approach to addressing the needs of today's leaders through the meaningful solutions. As we sign off, remember that the conversation doesn't end here. Connect with us on social media at Allsteel. Share your thoughts, questions, or even your favorite moments from the podcast. We love hearing from our engaged and curious audience. Until then, thanks for listening.